Hello everyone. This video presents a notable event that happened on each day from the past week in history. On December 15th, 2001, the Leaning Tower of Pisa was finished with an 11-year project that cost $27 million to make sure it kept leaning, a fix that did not fix the original problem. Of course, the Pisans were in no hurry to correct the lean of their eponymous tower, as the Leaning Tower is an enormous tourist draw, pulling in 5 million visitors each year. The 185-foot-high tower, made of marble and stone, took 199 years to build, and was intended as the bell tower for the Pisa Cathedral. The famous lean started during the 12th century when the construction was underway and slowly got worse until completion of the tower in 1372. The soft ground at the tower site is to blame for the lean, which had gotten worse by 1993 when the stabilizing project began. By 2001, stabilization was complete. Have you ever visited Italy or Pisa? On December 16, 1863, after bungling the defense of Chattanooga, Confederate Army General Braxton Bragg was replaced as commander of the Army of Tennessee by General Johnston. Nevertheless, a major U.S. Army base was named after Bragg. Other American places that have been named after people infamous for their failures include Fort Polk, Louisiana, named after Confederate General Leonidas Polk, a political appointee with no military experience and poor performance during the Civil War; Custer, South Dakota, and Custer City, Oklahoma, named after U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel George A. Custer, who with his entire command was wiped out at the Battle of Little Bighorn in 1876. And the Hoover Dam, Nevada and Arizona, named after President Herbert Hoover, who not only lost his bid for re-election in 1932, but also presided over the onset of the Great Depression. On December 17, 1947, the Boeing B-47 Stratojet made its first flight. A graceful-looking six-engine jet bomber, this nuclear big stick of the U.S. Air Force was destined to never drop a bomb in anger, although 2,042 Stratojets served from 1951 to 1977. Other highly capable bombers that never saw combat include the Convair B-36 Peacemaker, which entered service in 1948 and retired in 1959. And the Convair B-58 Hustler, which entered service in 1960 and retired in 1970. Powered by 6 propeller engines and 4 jet engines, the B-36 was defended by 16 20mm cannons and could carry 86,000 pounds of bombs. The B-58 was a futuristic delta-winged, 4-engine supersonic bomber designed to carry nuclear weapons. What is the greatest bomber of all time? On December 18, 1932, the first NFL championship game was played between the Chicago Bears and the Portsmouth, Ohio Spartans. Due to the snow and cold weather, the game was played indoors at the Chicago Stadium on a reduced-size field. The Bears won 9-0, and in 1934 the Spartans moved to Detroit and became the Lions. Portsmouth now has a population of only 18,000, but in 1930 boasted over 42,000 people. Some other small cities that hosted major league teams include the Troy, New York Trojans of MLB's National League, who played from 1879 to 1882 in a city of 56,000 people, and the Canton, Ohio Bulldogs of the NFL, a team that won the league championship in 1922 and 1923 in a city of under 100,000 people. What is your favorite big league team? On December 19, 1974, former governor of New York Nelson Rockefeller was sworn in as vice president of the U.S. Gerald Ford had previously served as vice president when Spiro Agnew resigned in disgrace in 1973, meaning that both the president and the vice president in late 1974 had both not been elected to office. The office of vice president has long been derided as a trivial position, with John Adams, our first vice president, calling it the most insignificant office, and John Garner, FDR's first VP, calling the job almost wholly unimportant. Critics of the office must be reminded that the VP serves a single heartbeat away from the Oval Office, or in Ford's case, a presidential resignation away. Not only have 15 vice presidents become president, 9 of them assume the top job while still serving as VP. Who is your favorite vice president? On December 20th, 2019, the United States Space Force became a branch of the U.S. military, a military that far exceeds any current competitor. The U.S. is so rich that it is the only country to boast a space force at all. Spending nearly $900 billion per year, the U.S. defense budget is 40% of the total world defense spending, more than the next 10 nations combined. The U.S. has 1.3 million active members and another 800,000 reservists. The Navy has 11 active aircraft carriers among its 470 ships, while no other nation has even a single carrier that matches any of ours. The Army has 5,500 of the finest tanks and the most advanced individual soldiers' kit on Earth. The Air Force has 5,200 of the most capable planes, while the U.S. Marine Corps is the finest fighting force of all time. On December 21, 1988, the giant Soviet cargo jet, the Antonov An-225 Mriya, made its maiden flight. Heavier than any airplane before or since, and with a wingspan longer than any production aircraft, the An-225 was intended to carry mass quantities of military cargo, outsized items, and to transport the Buran-class orbiter space vehicles. Only a single flying copy of the An-225 was ever completed. The dimensions of the An-225 were 84 meters long, an 88.4 meter wingspan, and an empty weight of 285,000 kilos. Capable of 850 kilometers per hour and with a range of 15,400 kilometers, the An-225 carried almost 100,000 U.S. gallons of fuel. Sadly, it was destroyed during the Russian attack on Ukraine in 2022. As a question for my students and subscribers, which event from this past week in history would you most like to learn more about? Please let me know in the comment section below this video. If you liked this video and would like to receive notification of new videos, please feel welcome to subscribe to History and Headlines and become one of our patrons. Your viewership is much appreciated. For image, audio, and other credits and attributions for components of the individual videos in this compilation, please see the descriptions of their respective videos, which are linked to in this video's description.